How we doing, guys? Welcome to this video. So I haven't posted on YouTube for a while now. I've been super busy building my brands and just working on increasing the amount of income streams that I currently have. So it's been full force. It's obviously in the middle of summer. Right now we're optimizing my main digital product, Ecom brand. Just trying to improve that conversion rate. We've got a bunch of new products to help us push up the AOV, and that will put us in a much better position to scale the ads because the profit is there. The issue we was having before on that business is the average order value was just far too low for the cost of ads, and it was making it very difficult to continue to just up that budget on the meta ads. So Ecom is a fantastic business model. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently because there's a lot of nonsense going around online. Like when you go on TikTok and these other social media platforms, you see a lot of people promoting really sketchy business models. In my opinion, you can't really call them a business model, but there's a lot of people just trying to sell you shit and, well, sell you a dream as well. Whereas I think Ecom, if you really break it down, it's a proper business. You know, there's a lot of people who do things like drop shipping, which is absolutely fine, but drop shipping is just a shipping model, remember? But the whole Ecom model itself is a proper business model because it's fantastic. You learn about many different areas and aspects of business, and it teaches you those fundamental skills, which of course are transferable into many other types of businesses. So there's not many business models where you actually learn these things. I'm talking like sales, marketing, products, you know, design, websites, optimization to do with things like the conversion rate, ads, customer service. Like all of these things are fundamentals that we need to be learning. And I feel like some business models don't teach you these, or you don't learn them along the way because they're almost too easy, right? Let's take trading, for example, especially trading when you're just copying signal traders. You're just following some group that has promised you that if you put this amount of money in and copy the trades, you can just make this passive income super easy, right? Do not fall for that, guys. It's absolute bullshit. You cannot make money that simple. And not only that, you're not really learning any skills. You're just kind of copying someone else. And they make commission from you obviously depositing money into brokers and different places, different platforms. They make commission on you. So regardless whether you make money or not, they're still making money. That's how it works. But it's not a proper business. You can't really learn any fundamental skills doing a model like that. The other model that I'm seeing on TikTok and some of these other platforms quite a lot is this whole digital product stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, because I've got a digital product brand, but there's a lot of people out there that are just doing it in such a bizarre way where they think that you can sell a couple of PDFs, ebooks and things like that and you can become a multi-millionaire. You see a lot of these people on TikTok doing live streaming. They're trying to get you into their course so they can basically show you how you can sell this amazing ebook on this random subject, and you can just be a stay-at-home mum and print money. Which is, again, it's just all bullshit, right? They're making most of their money from selling some sort of course or selling some sort of community, which I've got nothing against, but it's the way they do it. They promote the fact that you can just start selling these really basic, bog standard digital products that don't really provide any transformation or, you know, don't actually solve a problem. And they claim that this is the thing that's going to be the key to success. When it's just not true. So do not do trading, do not get into digital products if that's the sort of mindset you're going to have. So the difference between the digital product that I'm selling is it actually solves a problem. It's a asset that you can plug and play into a software. So it actually delivers a result, and that's the difference. We've spent many, many hours, months even, creating these products, and they actually help people get a faster and better result. That's the difference. If you're just selling a crappy PDF that you've bought on Etsy, for example, some template, and you're trying to pass it off as your own, then it's not a good look. And I see a lot of these people who have obviously signed up to some sort of course or community on TikTok and Instagram, and they're all just repeating the same gibberish, showing these other mums and these other people you can just stay at home, create TikTok videos and sell your ebooks and PDFs. It's not a real business, guys. You're not actually, especially if you're not creating the products, you're not actually learning these skills like we just spoken about. Fair enough, if you have some sort of course or community, or you have some sort of product where you can actually provide, you know, that solution to a problem, then yes, it's a good idea. But not if you're just taking stuff off Etsy or taking PLR products or MRR products and just reselling them. Essentially, it's just not. It's really not that simple. It's much better to actually create your own product based around what problem you can actually solve. And if you feel like you can't solve a problem, or you feel like you're not in a position to sell one of these products, then you're probably not. So don't try it. Go off and get good at business first. Go and get good at something, and then you can help people. There's too many people trying to make a business when they don't even know the thing they're doing themselves. So how can you teach other people? How can you provide any value when you've not actually done the thing that you're trying to sell? So that's kind of like one thing that I'm seeing a lot of in this make money online industry. But like I said, my opinion of this is I think Ecom is by far one of the best businesses to start. Yes, it requires upfront capital and it's a risk, but what other business gives you that scenario where you can sit at home on a laptop and sell all over the world and leverage paid ads, leverage, you know, not the fact that you don't even have to be the face of a brand. You can build a faceless brand if you like, and you can just sell products all over the world. And if you get it right with a high profit margin, then it gives you that leverage to actually earn a ridiculous amount of money. And this is why you see brands all the time reaching heights of hundreds of millions of pounds and dollars. So it's all doable, but you don't need to earn that much to have a good life. You can build small brands with high profit margins where you don't have as many expenses, maybe you have a very small team, and you just keep it super lean. And this is what I'm trying to do. You know, it's easy to sort of fall into the trap of trying to force something so huge, but then it eats into all your margin. And yes, it might look good, those vanity numbers, seeing the revenue screenshots, but what's better, to have high revenue, loads of stress from all the staff that you've got to manage and all the outgoings that you have every single month, or have a very small team and leverage things like AI and tools that help you automate certain processes. You don't earn as much, but you have minimal stress. This is why I've started a digital product business, because I don't have any stock. I don't need to speak to Chinese suppliers. I don't need to worry about parcels going missing in the post. I don't need to pack any orders. I don't need to worry about shit like that, basically. When a customer orders, they can download the product instantly, and it provides an instant transformation. So it's fantastic. This means we can scale the ads a lot easier because we haven't got that cost of goods, which is one of the biggest expenses when starting a physical product business. Now, there's nothing wrong with a physical product business. That's just something to bear in mind. If you do want to start one of them, then obviously you need to factor in how much does this product cost from a supplier? How much is it going to cost to advertise this using paid ads, whether that be Meta ads or Google ads or TikTok ads or even Pinterest ads, depending on what type of product it is. These are all the things that you need to think about before starting a brand. So I like to give the advice of picking a product that you can get from a supplier for under £10, that you can sell for 60, 70, or even 80 and above pounds. That gives you a nice healthy profit margin, makes it a lot easier to scale and run ads because you've got that wiggle room to do so. Not only that, I think it's important not to go too crazy on the variants. You don't want, dozens of variants, loads of different colors and sizes. It gets really complicated. You're going to have a bunch of stock that just doesn't sell as well, and then it ends up sitting on the shelf and you've still got it next year. So you want minimal variance, you want a high profit margin. You also want to think about the size of the product. Again, it comes down to the shipping. If you've got a really large product, let's say for example you're selling a mirror, right? A mirror, you know, is extremely delicate. It's going to be hard to pack, it's going to be hard to send, you're going to have lots get broken. It's also going to take up a lot of space wherever you're storing that. So if you're starting a brand and you wanted to start from home and send all these parcels out yourself, then a mirror is going to be extremely difficult unless you have a ginormous garage or storage container. So I would think about trying to start a brand with a smaller item, something that's easy to post, not too expensive, doesn't take up too much space. The other piece of advice I would give here though is if you are starting an ecom brand, especially physical product, I would think about using a 3PL or fulfillment center first. So design your brand, design your profit margins around outsourcing the handling of stock and shipping. Because if you do that now, then it just sets you up for success later down the line. It gets extremely complicated. As soon as you get to the point where you're getting some consistent orders every day, you know, let's say a few dozen orders every day, that starts to eat into your time. And before you know it, you're going to be spending most of your time just packing orders and worrying about your inventory and just worrying about that sort of logistics of handling that stock. It's a nightmare and you don't really want to get involved with that. You want to try and outsource that from the get-go, because that will just enable you to focus on the marketing, the products, the important stuff, right? The stuff that actually matters and the stuff that you can focus on. As soon as you start worrying about the stock, it's just going to pull you away from all these other things. So that's the mistake that I made, and it just got to the point where we were packing orders all the time, took up all my time. And not only that, we decided for some reason to make a lot of handmade stuff. I thought it was a good idea at the time because it meant we didn't need to order from China. So that things like waterproof collars, leads, like we got into sort of handmade dog accessories basically. And it sounded like a good idea until the point where we was getting a bunch of orders every day and I'd be out in the garage for hours making these collars and leads, and they weren't even that profitable, because if I worked out how long it took me to make these products, I was probably on about £2 an hour, right? Completely pointless. And that ate into my time. So I didn't have the energy, creative focus to actually make any ads and things like that. So we knocked that on the head pretty quick because it's a bad idea. So like I said, if you can outsource it from the get-go, it's going to help you out. And it's just a lot easier because it enables you to focus on the other important parts of the business. But this is why I think, like I said, ecom is one of the best business models that you can start. It's not the easiest. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, it's great for beginners, because it's not. It can get extremely difficult. Like I said, you need to invest a chunk of money to get it going, especially if you're doing private label and you're buying that stock in bulk. You obviously need a budget for the ads and all the other costs associated. So it's not a beginner-friendly business model in the sense that you have to learn a lot of skills, but those skills that you do learn are transferable and are with you for life. So although I'd say it's not for beginners, I would say that if you're willing to, if you're willing to build a business for the long term and you want something that is going to last a long time, it's not just going to go in and out of trends, and it's not like a get-rich-quick scheme. If you want to build something proper that outgrows you and one day you can potentially sell, then I would say start ecom. Even if it is difficult, it's definitely worth learning about and practicing, because it can change your life. And once you have those skills, you can start, well, you can basically replicate, you can rinse and repeat, right? You can start new brands just as I have. The first brand you start is most likely not going to be successful. So the sooner you start and make some failures, then the quicker you're going to learn. And this is what's happened to me along my journey. I've started multiple brands. Most of them have failed, but this is just the nature of not knowing what you're doing, essentially. And my most recent brand has been successful so far. So we're going to continue to scale that, see where we can push it, and yeah, just working on those skills every single week, getting better, and over time you will improve things. So I guess this video was just a bit of an update to show you, or to talk to you about how I'm getting on, what I'm doing, my mindset with a few of these different business models, because some of them are scams, some of them, if it sounds too good to be true, by the way, it probably is. So focus on something that you can actually put a lot of effort into over the next 5 years, build those skills, and it's going to be a lot better for you long term. But anyway, if you want help and you want to learn off someone who's in the trenches with you, building businesses actively right now, not just claiming to or pretending to on Instagram, then get yourself in my community. This is where I help people learn the strategies that have worked for me. I help them optimize their stores, figure out what bottlenecks they have in their businesses, ads, content, social media strategy, product design, all of it. This is the sort of stuff that I'm helping members do and get results inside my community. So if you want to join, I'll put the link in the description and hopefully I'll see you inside. But other than that, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.